Admiral Kethvar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Times Dominance Asterisk. The massive ship cut through space like a silver blade. Around him, 200 other Zephyrian warships moved in perfect formation. Their hulls gleamed with energy shields that could stop anything the galaxy could throw at them. The Admiral looked at the star charts on his screen. The yellow star ahead of them was called Sol by the humans who lived there. Soon, it would belong to the Zephyrian hegemony, just like the 17 other star systems they had conquered. "Sir, we will reach the outer human colonies in 6 days," reported his navigation officer. The young Zephyrian's purple skin showed excitement through its natural patterns. Kethvar nodded. He had been planning this attack for 2 years. The humans were new to space travel. They had only left their home world 50 years ago. Their ships were made of simple metal and powered by nuclear fusion. Compared to Zephyrian bioships that grew their own repairs and quantum cores that bent space itself, human technology was like comparing a stone axe to a plasma rifle. His science officer approached with a datapad. "Admiral, the intelligence reports on human military strength." Kethvar took the device and read. The humans had maybe 1,000 ships total. Most were cargo vessels or small patrol craft. Their largest warships were only 800 meters long. The Zephyrian flagship alone was twice that size. "They use kinetic weapons," Kethvar said, laughing. "Metal bullets fired from tubes." "How primitive." The science officer looked concerned. "Sir, there are some unusual energy readings from their space around Jupiter. Our long-range sensors cannot identify the source. Probably their power plants." Kethvar waved his hand dismissively. "These humans burn fossil fuels and split atoms for power. Of course, their energy signatures look strange to us." The Admiral walked to the great viewing window at the front of the bridge. Space stretched out before them, filled with stars that would all bow to Zephyrian rule. The humans would surrender quickly once they saw the power of the hegemony fleet. Most species did. "Tell me about their military history," Kethvar asked his intelligence officer. "They fight each other constantly on their home world," came the reply. "But their space navy is very small. They have never fought a real space battle against another species. Their tactics are basic, and their weapons are outdated." Kethvar smiled, showing his sharp teeth. The Zephyrians had been warriors for thousands of years. They had perfected the art of space combat against dozens of different species. They knew how to break enemy morale, how to destroy supply lines, how to make a species surrender without destroying the planets they wanted to claim. "What about their population centers?" the Admiral asked. "Most humans live on their home world." His officer replied. "They have small colonies on nearby planets and moons, but nothing major. If we control Earth, we control the entire species." "Perfect," Kethvar said. "We will sweep aside their outer defenses, destroy their small fleet, and demand surrender. If they refuse, we bombard their cities until they change their minds." It was the same strategy that had worked 17 times before. No species could stand against Zephyrian military might once they saw it in action. The hegemony had the best weapons, the best ships, and the best trained warriors in the galaxy. The Admiral looked at his tactical display. Each green dot represented a Zephyrian warship: battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and support vessels. The humans would see this armada approaching and know they had no chance of victory. "Sir," called the communications officer, "we are receiving a transmission from the advanced scouts." "Put it on screen," Kethvar ordered. A Zephyrian captain appeared on the main display. "Admiral, we have completed our reconnaissance of the outer human colonies. Their defenses are even weaker than we thought. A few patrol boats, some orbital platforms with basic weapons. Nothing that could threaten even our smallest ships." "Any sign of their main fleet?" Kethvar asked. "We detected some ships near their gas giant planets, but they appear to be mining vessels and transports. No heavy warships visible." Kethvar nodded. "Continue your surveillance. Do not engage yet. I want the humans to see our full fleet when we arrive. The transmission ended. Around the bridge, Zephyrian officers shared looks of anticipation. This would be an easy conquest. Axis Non. The humans would surrender quickly, and the hegemony would gain another star system without losing many ships. Admiral, said his second-in-command, should we prepare landing forces for the human worlds? Not yet, Kethvar replied. First we destroy their space navy, then we demand surrender. If they agree, we land peacekeeping forces. If they refuse, we show them what Zephyrian plasma bombardment can do to a planet's surface. The Times Dominance Times continued its journey toward Sol, followed by the greatest war fleet the Zephyrian hegemony had ever assembled. In 6 days, the humans would see 200 advanced warships in their sky. They would understand that resistance was futile. Kethvar walked back to his command chair, already planning victory celebrations. The conquest of humanity would add another chapter to Zephyrian glory. Their primitive technology and small numbers made them perfect targets. Soon, Earth would be just another world in the ever-growing Zephyrian Empire. The mining station orbiting Proxima Centauri exploded in a brilliant flash of white light. Admiral Kethvar watched from his command chair as Zephyrian plasma cannons tore through the human outpost like paper. Metal pieces drifted in space, glowing hot from the attack. Target destroyed, Admiral, reported his weapons officer. No survivors. Excellent. Continue to the next human installation. The Zephyrian fleet had been attacking human outer colonies for 3 days. Every encounter proved what Kethvar already knew. Human technology was pathetic compared to Zephyrian superiority. Their weapons could barely scratch Zephyrian shields. Their small ships moved slowly and predictably. Sir. Detecting 3 human patrol vessels approaching. Called the sensor officer. I meant it, I'm T-N parter. I meant it, Kethvar looked at his tactical screen. The human ships were tiny compared to his battleships. They looked like metal boxes, with engines attached. No graceful curves or bioadaptive armor like proper warships should have. Let me see them, the Admiral ordered. The main screen showed 3 human destroyers moving toward the Zephyrian fleet. They fired missiles and some kind of projectile weapons. The attacks bounced harmlessly off Zephyrian energy shields. Destroy them, Kethvar said with boredom. Plasma beams lanced out from 6 Zephyrian cruisers. The human ships disappeared in balls of superheated gas. The battle lasted less than 2 minutes. Another easy victory, laughed Kethvar's second-in-command. These humans fight like children. Far away, on the bridge of the Earth Defense Force ship Times, Defiance *. Captain Sarah Chen watched the tactical display. The alien fleet was advancing exactly as predicted. Every human ship they encountered was old, outdated, or deliberately weakened. Ma'am, receiving distress signals from the outer colonies, reported her communications officer. Acknowledged, Sarah replied calmly. Send the coded message to all EDF units. Protocol Shepherd is now in effect. All wolves return to the den. Across human space, the real Earth Defense Force received the message. Modern human warships powered down their active sensors and retreated toward the inner system. They moved carefully, staying in the shadows of asteroids and moons, where alien sensors could not find them. The ships the aliens were destroying belonged to the Colonial Patrol, an older organization that used surplus military equipment. Their sacrifice was buying time for the real human fleet to prepare. On the Zephyrian flagship, Intelligence Officer Veltar brought new reports to Admiral Kethvar. Sir, we have intercepted more human communications, Veltar said. They are calling for all remaining ships to fall back to Earth for a final defense. As expected. Kethvar nodded. They know they cannot stop us, so they gather their remaining forces to protect their home world. How many ships do they have left? Our estimates suggest perhaps 50 to 100 vessels, sir. All of similar technology to what we have already encountered. Kethvar smiled. 50 human ships against 200 Zephyrian warships. They will surrender as soon as they see us. The Admiral did not know that human intelligence had been feeding false information to Zephyrian scouts for months. The obsolete ships they encountered were meant to be seen. The energy signatures they detected were from old power plants and civilian reactors, not military vessels. Deep in the asteroid belt, Commander Marcus Webb stood on the bridge of the stealth ship Times Shadow Asterisk. His vessel was painted black and equipped with advanced sensor dampeners. For weeks, he had been watching the alien fleet and reporting their movements. "Sir, the aliens have destroyed Outpost 7, his sensor officer reported. "Good," Webb replied. "That was an old mining station we evacuated last month. Every installation they attack brings them deeper into the trap." The Times, Shadow Times, followed the Zephyrian fleet from a safe distance. The aliens had no idea they were being tracked by human technology far more advanced than anything they had seen so far. Back on the Times Dominance Asterisk, Kethvar studied reports from his scout ships. The path to Earth was clear, except for a few human patrol boats that fled as soon as they saw Zephyrian vessels approaching. "Sir," said his navigation officer, "we will reach Earth's orbital space in 18 hours. "Perfect," Kethvar replied. "Have all ships prepare for bombardment positions. Once the humans see our full fleet, they will have no choice but to surrender." The Admiral walked to his viewing window again. Soon, he would add Earth to the list of Zephyrian conquests. The human species would become servants of the hegemony, mining resources and building ships for their new masters. "Admiral," called his communications officer, "we are receiving a transmission from Earth." "Put it through," Kethvar ordered. A human face appeared on the main screen. The alien looked similar to several species the Zephyrians had conquered before. 2 eyes, 1 mouth, hair covering the top of its head. "This is Admiral James Harrison of Earth Defense Command," the human said. "You are attacking innocent colonies and killing civilians. Withdraw from our space immediately, or face the consequences." Kethvar laughed so hard his entire bridge crew joined in. "Consequences? From you? Human, you have seen what our weapons can do. Your ships are no match for Zephyrian technology. Surrender now, and your people will be treated fairly." "We will never surrender to invaders," Harrison replied. "Earth will be defended." "Then Earth will be destroyed," Kethvar said. He cut the transmission and turned to his officers. "Increase speed. I want to finish this quickly." The Zephyrian fleet accelerated toward Earth, confident in their superior firepower and numbers. They had destroyed every human vessel that dared to fight them. The final battle would be over in hours. None of them suspected that the real human fleet was waiting in the shadows, armed with weapons beyond Zephyrian imagination. The Zephyrian war fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. Admiral Kethvar expected to see the desperate final defense of humanity. Instead, his sensors showed almost nothing. "Where are their ships?" Kethvar demanded. His sensor officer checked the displays twice. "Sir, I detect only a few space stations around Earth, some cargo vessels, and what appears to be a small defense fleet of maybe 20 ships." The Admiral frowned. 20 ships? Our intelligence suggested they would gather at least 50 vessels for their final stand. "Perhaps many were destroyed in the outer colonies, sir," suggested his second-in-command. Kethvar nodded. It made sense. The humans had probably sent their best ships to stop the Zephyrian advance and lost them all. What remained were the last few vessels protecting their home world. "Begin bombardment of their orbital installations," the Admiral ordered. "Show them what happens to those who resist the hegemony." Plasma beams reached across space and struck a human cargo dock. The structure broke apart, pieces spinning away into the darkness. More beams targeted communication, satellites, and orbital factories, The small human defense fleet moved to intercept, but their weapons were the same primitive projectiles and simple missiles the Zephyrians had encountered before. The attacks barely registered on Zephyrian shields. "Pathetic," muttered Kethvar. "Finish them quickly." But as the Zephyrian ships moved closer to Earth, something strange happened. The sensor officer's voice became worried. "Admiral, I am detecting massive gravitational anomalies near the gas giant Jupiter." Kethvar looked at the tactical display. Jupiter was 400 million kilometers away from Earth, far from the battle zone. Gravitational anomalies? Ah. Yes, sir. Something very large is moving in Jupiter's shadow. The mass readings are... Impossible. How? The Admiral demanded. "Sir, the object appears to be larger than our biggest dreadnought. Much larger. Oh, much larger." A chill ran down Kethvar's spine. The humans were supposed to have small ships. Nothing they had built was larger than 800 meters. "Get me a visual," he ordered. The main screen shifted to show Jupiter's stormy surface. At first, nothing seemed unusual. Then the storms parted, and something emerged that made every Zephyrian on the bridge stop breathing. A human battleship the size of a small moon rose from Jupiter's atmosphere. 3 kilometers from nose to tail, it was a mountain of metal and weapons floating in space. Gun turrets larger than Zephyrian cruisers rotated on its hull. Launch bays opened to reveal missile tubes that could swallow fighters whole. "By the Ancient Ones," whispered Kethvar's second-in-command. "What is that thing?" But the single massive ship was not alone. As the Zephyrian fleet watched in growing horror, more human vessels appeared. They seemed to materialize out of nowhere, as their stealth systems shut down. Dozens of battleships, each one larger than the biggest Zephyrian warship. Hundreds of cruisers bristling with weapon systems that looked nothing like the primitive guns they had seen before. Support vessels that could have been command ships in any other fleet. "Admiral," his sensor officer said with a shaking voice, "I count over 300 human vessels. And sir, their energy readings are off the scale." The human fleet that emerged from hiding was unlike anything the Zephyrians had ever seen. These were not the crude metal boxes they had been destroying for days. These ships had smooth armor plating, advanced shield generators, and weapons that hummed with barely contained power. On the bridge of the flagship Times Retribution Asterisk, Captain Sarah Chen watched the alien fleet realize their mistake. She had been waiting for this moment. "Open a channel to all enemy vessels," she ordered. Her face appeared on screens across the Zephyrian fleet. When she spoke, her voice was calm and cold. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. You have attacked our colonies. You have killed our people. You came to our system, expecting to find a weak species with primitive weapons." Kethvar stared at the human commander. Behind her, he could see the bridge of an advanced starship. Holographic displays showed tactical information far more sophisticated than Zephyrian systems. "We tried to avoid this war," Chen continued. "We could have revealed our true capabilities when your scouts first entered our space. We could have destroyed your fleet before it reached our colonies. But we hoped you might be reasonable. We hoped you might leave in peace." The captain's expression hardened. "You chose war instead. Now you will learn why that was a mistake." Admiral Kethvar found his voice. "Impossible. Our intelligence showed your technology was primitive. Your ships were weak, your weapons outdated. Your intelligence showed you exactly what we wanted you to see," Chen replied. "Those were colonial patrol vessels, training ships, obsolete equipment we use for cargo runs, and system maintenance." She gestured, and the tactical display behind her showed the true size of the human fleet. "This is the Earth Defense Force. We have been preparing for contact with hostile alien species for 50 years. Every ship you see was designed to fight enemies with technology beyond our own. We studied captured Zephyrian equipment from the species you conquered. We know your weaknesses. Kethvar looked at his own tactical display with new understanding. The energy readings his science officer had detected near Jupiter were not power plants or mining operations. They were the signatures of a hidden battle fleet. You have 30 seconds to begin retreat, Captain Chen announced. If you do not, we will consider your presence in our system an act of war. Admiral, urged his second-in-command, perhaps we should withdraw and request reinforcements. But Kethvar's pride would not let him retreat from primitive humans, no matter how large their ships appeared. The Zephyrian hegemony had never been defeated in battle. All ships, attack formation, he ordered. Those vessels may be large, but size does not equal power. We have superior weapons and experienced crews. Captain Chen watched the alien fleet begin to move toward Earth. She sighed and shook her head. So be it, she said. All ships, weapons free. Show them what human engineering can do. The space around Earth lit up as the largest space battle in human history began. The Zephyrians were about to learn the true meaning of human warfare. The first human attack came without warning. A railgun, slug the size of a shuttlecraft, screamed across space at 15% of light speed. It struck the Zephyrian cruiser times Swift Death times dead center and punched completely through the ship. Admiral Kethvar watched in shock as the cruiser split in half. The Zephyrian vessel's bioadaptive armor had not even slowed the projectile down. Pieces of the ship tumbled away, venting atmosphere and crew into space. Impossible, he whispered. Our armor adapts to any attack. His science officer checked the sensor readings. Sir, that projectile was solid tungsten moving at 45,000 kilometers per second. The kinetic energy was equivalent to a nuclear weapon. The quote, more railgun shots followed. The human battleships fired metal rods that moved faster than Zephyrian weapons could track. Each impact destroyed or crippled a Zephyrian vessel instantly. The bioadaptive hulls could not adapt to pure kinetic force delivered at such incredible speed. Return fire! Kethvar shouted. All ships, target their largest vessels. Zephyrian plasma beams reached across space toward the human fleet. The energy weapons that had conquered 17 star systems struck human shield generators and stopped. The plasma splashed harmlessly against barriers that seemed to absorb unlimited amounts of energy. Sir, their shields are not responding to plasma bombardment, reported his weapons officer. The energy is being redirected somehow. Captain Sarah Chen watched the alien weapons strike her ship's deflector screens. Human scientists had studied captured Zephyrian technology for decades. They knew exactly how plasma weapons worked and had built defenses specifically to stop them. Target their flagship, she ordered. Main battery, full power. The Times Retribution's Times primary weapon was a magnetic railgun 800 meters long. It fired projectiles weighing 10 tons at 20% of light speed. The weapon had been designed to crack planets if necessary. The tungsten rod struck the Times dominance times with the force of a small asteroid impact. Kethvar was thrown from his command chair as his flagship shuddered and groaned. Emergency lights flashed as systems failed throughout the ship. Damage report, the Admiral demanded as he pulled himself to his feet. Hull breach on decks 12 through 25, came the reply. Bio-repair systems are overwhelmed. We have lost main power to half the ship. Around the Times dominance asterisk, the Zephyrian fleet was being systematically destroyed. Human weapons were unlike anything they had ever faced. Instead of elegant energy beams or exotic particle weapons, humans used brute force applied with incredible precision. Fusion warheads detonated with the power of stars, overwhelming Zephyrian shields through sheer energy output. Electromagnetic pulse torpedoes fried delicate Zephyrian electronics, leaving ships dead in space. Mass driver cannons fired streams of metal pellets that chewed through armor like acid. Admiral, called his tactical officer, we have lost 40 ships in the first 10 minutes of battle. Their weapons are cutting through our formations like we are not even fighting back. Kethvar stared at the tactical display in disbelief. The green dots representing Zephyrian ships were disappearing faster than he could count. The red dots, showing human vessels, had not decreased at all. "How are they so powerful?" he asked his science officer. "Their technology appeared primitive." "Sir, I am analyzing their weapon signatures," came the shaken reply. "These are not primitive weapons. Their railguns use magnetic fields stronger than anything we can generate. Their fusion warheads are more efficient than our own plasma cores. Their targeting systems are tracking our ships faster than our pilots can react." Another human attack wave struck the Zephyrian fleet. This time, it was missiles. But these were not the simple rockets they had seen from human patrol boats. These were fusion-powered torpedoes that could change course mid-flight and strike from multiple angles simultaneously. The Zephyrian destroyer times Night Hunter times tried to evade 3 incoming missiles. The human weapons split apart, becoming 9 smaller projectiles that surrounded the ship and detonated at the same instant. The destroyer vanished in a ball of nuclear fire. "Sir, the humans are using coordinated AI targeting systems," reported the sensor officer. "Each of their ships can control hundreds of weapons independently. Our pilots cannot keep up with their attack patterns." Kethvar realized the terrible truth. The humans had not simply built larger ships with more weapons. They had created an entirely different approach to space warfare. Where Zephyrian tactics relied on individual skill and bio-adaptive technology, human strategy used overwhelming firepower, coordinated by artificial intelligence. "Admiral, incoming transmission from the human flagship," his communications officer announced. Captain Chen's face appeared on the main screen again. Behind her, Kethvar could see human officers calmly managing the destruction of his fleet. Their expressions showed no excitement or joy, only professional competence. "Admiral Kethvar," Chen said, "you still have time to order your surviving ships to retreat. We do not wish to destroy your entire fleet. Why offer mercy now?" Kethvar asked, through gritted teeth. "Because we are not conquerors like you," Chen replied. "We fight only to defend ourselves. Your people attacked us." We responded. "If you leave our space now, this ends here." Kethvar looked at his tactical display. Half his fleet was gone. The remaining ships were taking heavy damage and could not even scratch the human vessels. His bio-adaptive armor, quantum cores, and superior tactics meant nothing against raw firepower delivered with perfect accuracy. "Sir," whispered his second-in-command, "perhaps we should accept their offer." The admiral's pride warred with his duty to his crew. The Zephyrian hegemony had never retreated from battle. But the Zephyrian hegemony had never faced an enemy like this. Another wave of human attacks destroyed 6 more Zephyrian ships. The Dominance Times, shook as near misses overloaded its already damaged systems. "Admiral, hull integrity is failing," reported his engineering officer. "If we take another direct hit, the ship will break apart." Kethvar closed his eyes. When he opened them, he saw the truth reflected in his officers' faces. They were not warriors facing an honorable enemy. They were insects being swatted by giants. "All ships," he said into his communicator, "begin immediate retreat. Emergency jump to hyperspace." The surviving Zephyrian vessels turned and fled toward the edge of the solar system. As they ran, Captain Chen's voice followed them. "Admiral Kethvar, take this message back to your hegemony. Earth is under the protection of the Human Defense Force. Any future attacks on human colonies or ships will be met with the full strength of our fleet. We have no desire for war, but we will not hesitate to defend ourselves." The Dominance Times limped away from Earth, its hull cracked and its crew broken. Behind them, the human battle fleet remained in perfect formation, watching to ensure the invaders truly left. Kethvar slumped in his command chair, finally understanding what his intelligence officers had missed. The humans had spent 50 years in space, not because they were slow to develop technology. They had spent 50 years building the most terrifying war machine the galaxy had ever seen. 3 months after the battle at Earth, Ambassador Velnara of the Altarian Republic stood before the Galactic Council on the neutral world of Kepler Prime. The council chamber was filled with representatives from dozens of species, all waiting to hear her report about the humans. "Honored council members," Velnara began, "I have completed my investigation into the recent conflict between the Zephyrian hegemony and the human species. What I discovered changes everything we thought we knew about Earth's inhabitants." The Altarian activated a holographic display showing the remains of the Zephyrian war fleet. Twisted metal and debris floated in space, all that remained of ships that had once conquered star systems. The Zephyrians attacked human space with 200 advanced warships. Only 37 vessels returned. The survivors report that human military technology is far beyond what any of us suspected. Murmurs filled the chamber. The Zephyrian hegemony had been one of the galaxy's major powers for centuries. The idea that primitive humans had destroyed most of their fleet seemed impossible. "How is this possible?" asked the crystalline representative, her voice ringing like glass. "Our scouts reported that humans used basic nuclear fusion and metal projectiles." Velnara nodded. "That is what they wanted us to see. According to Zephyrian survivors, the ships we observed were deliberately obsolete. The real human fleet remained hidden until the moment of attack. The hologram changed to show recordings from the battle itself. The assembled alien diplomats watched in silence as human battleships emerged from Jupiter's shadow. Ships larger than anything in the galactic fleets, armed with weapons that made Zephyrian plasma cannons look like toys. Their railguns fire projectiles at 20% of light speed, Velnara continued. Their fusion warheads are more powerful than our best plasma cores. Their artificial intelligence systems can coordinate thousands of weapons simultaneously across hundreds of ships. The hive mind delegates' multiple voices spoke in unison. This suggests the humans have been preparing for galactic war for decades. They deliberately concealed their true capabilities while they built a fleet designed to defeat any known technology. "Exactly," Velnara replied. "While we believed them to be a young species learning to explore space, they were actually studying us. They captured examples of various alien technologies and designed specific countermeasures. On Earth, Captain Sarah Chen stood in the command center of Luna Base, humanity's primary military installation. Around her, officers monitored long-range sensors that watched for any sign of new alien fleets approaching human space. "Captain," reported her intelligence officer, "we are receiving communications from 17 different alien governments. All are requesting peaceful contact and trade agreements." Sarah smiled grimly. 3 months ago, none of them would return our diplomatic messages. Now they all want to be our friends. "What are your orders, ma'am?" "Begin talks with the peaceful species. Make it clear that we have no interest in conquest, but we will defend ourselves and our allies. Any species that threatens human colonies will face the same fate as the Zephyrians." The truth was that humanity had never wanted to be the galaxy's dominant military power. When they first detected alien radio signals 50 years earlier, human leaders had hoped to join a peaceful galactic community. They had prepared for the possibility of hostile contact, but they had dreamed of friendship and cooperation. The Zephyrian attack had forced them to reveal their true strength. Now there was no going back. Admiral James Harrison, the same man who had spoken to Kethvar before the battle, addressed the United Nations Security Council in New York. "The galaxy now knows what we are capable of," he said. "Every alien government is recalculating their policies toward humanity. Some see us as potential allies. Others view us as a threat that must be contained." "What do you recommend, Admiral?" asked the Secretary General. "We maintain our current defensive posture. We share some of our less sensitive technologies with peaceful species to build goodwill. But we never reveal the full extent of our capabilities again. The mystery of human strength is now our greatest protection. Far across the galaxy, the remnants of the Zephyrian fleet limped home to their core worlds. Admiral Kethvar had been relieved of command, but the hegemony's leaders wanted to hear his report directly. "Tell us exactly what happened," demanded the supreme commander of Zephyrian forces. Kethvar stood before the military tribunal, his once proud uniform now bearing the stains of defeat. "The humans deceived us completely. Everything our intelligence told us about their capabilities was wrong." "How wrong?" asked another general. "Their smallest battleships are larger than our biggest dreadnoughts. Their weapons technology is decades ahead of ours. Their industrial capacity must be enormous to build such a fleet in secret." The Supreme Commander leaned forward. "Could we defeat them with a larger fleet?" Kethvar remembered the cold efficiency of the human attack, the perfect coordination of their weapons, the way their shields had simply absorbed Zephyrian plasma fire like it was nothing. "No, sir. Even if we brought every ship in the hegemony, we would still lose. Their technology is too advanced. Their tactics are too effective." The military leaders fell silent. For the first time in centuries, the Zephyrian hegemony faced an enemy they could not defeat. Back on Earth, children played in parks, while their parents worked at jobs building the future of human civilization. Most people went about their daily lives without thinking about the massive fleet that protected them in the darkness of space. But in hidden shipyards throughout the solar system, new vessels were under construction. Larger ships with more advanced weapons. Humanity had revealed their hand to the galaxy, but they were still holding back their best cards. Captain Chen received a final report from her scouts. "Ma'am, long-range sensors show no alien fleets approaching human space. All detected vessels are maintaining safe distances from our territory." "Good," Chen replied. "Continue monitoring, and prepare the next phase of fleet expansion. The galaxy knows we exist now, but they don't know how strong we really are." She looked out at the stars visible through the observation deck. Somewhere out there, alien species were debating whether to approach humanity with friendship or fear. Some would choose peace and find humans willing to share knowledge and resources. Others would choose aggression and discover why the galaxy now whispered warnings about the species from Sol. The age of human isolation was over. The age of human protection for the peaceful species of the galaxy had begun. And in the deepest vaults of Earth's military installations, scientists continued their work on weapons that could crack planets and shields that could stop stars. Because humanity had learned an important lesson from first contact with the Zephyrians. The galaxy was not a peaceful place. And sometimes, the only way to protect the innocent was to be more dangerous than those who would harm them.